He is the Vice President of APAC Sales and Global Supply and Data Strategy for Mistafly. He's responsible for managing the sales for Mistafly suite of products, commercial conversations with partners and customers, and supplier relationships and data strategy for global growth. He's been in the industry for 20 years, but for Mistafly, he was with Expedia and Make My Trip. And then we've got Jeremy with us as well. Hi, Jeremy. He's a sourcing manager for APAC for Herbalife. He's responsible for leading key APAC sourcing projects, global travel agency consolidation, air and hotel program, MICE, events, and marketing. He's worked for GSK, Toshiba, and Micron Semiconductor. He sources a whole bunch of stuff related to our travel category. So let's get started. So you just said, Frederick, that we are the experts. So I've introduced him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, micro moment.
Okay, so, and actually, front row, can you let us know when we've got 10 minutes left?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So, you just called us experts, so I'd like to ask kind of a lifestyle question. How do you keep track of what's going on in travel innovation? So our audience can maybe take notes and maybe look stuff up. How do you keep yourself educated, smart, knowing what's going on? Start with you, Rajat.
So I think the first thing first, Google Alerts certainly help you. So if you put some Google Alerts on your email with some keywords, and these are some of the new age words like marketplace, innovation, disruption, new technology. So if you keep those words as alerts, it will throw you alerts. It will give you news from across the globe. And I think once you get time to read those, you'll well stay updated.
Okay, how about you?
Myself, I'm more of a follower. I'm not the person that go get ahead of the technology. But because of friends' influence, because of the news updates, I get to know some of these things. And when I start to use them, I really find that it does has a certain impact to me, especially when it comes to travel. For example, when you come to a foreign countries, right? You don't understand a single language, and now we have this. I'm not trying to publicize Google, but Google has this very great applications called the Google Translate, and all these words, foreign language, for example, Japanese, that is displayed on the screen, right? You can simply take a picture of it and click on it, and then after that you can get to translate exactly the same what it is in English. So I think this is something that has really changed my life, and it has indeed made my traveling much more easier and much more effective.
How do you stay smart, Frederick? How did you create that?
Well, being curious, I think that we have a lot of information available today. Well, if you want some names, I mean, like T-News, things.
Yeah, we do.
Yes?
I do want names,
okay,
specific
so
names, so that they
okay,
can hear.
so T-News is a good support. I don't have any personal interest in T-News, but I find T-News very interesting. I had the chance to work for a company which is super innovative and which invests a lot in communication. So I'm reading a lot of content for my work, but also for me because I find it very interesting. And my kids got teenagers at home, and I have to catch up. Otherwise, I look stupid.
Okay, and I'll answer that question as well. I just want you guys to be able to have a list of sources so that you can potentially plug in and learn a little bit more about travel innovation topics that are interesting to you. So Frederick mentioned T-News, the letter T, Nooz.com, right? That is dedicated to travel technology, and they write every day about the latest startup, the latest piece of technology. So that's a big source for me as well. I also read white papers that TMCs write, like my company writes white papers. Your company writes white papers. I read them, they're excellent. So I read white papers of large travel companies or technology companies. Focusrite, Focusrite. That's an organization that dedicates itself to writing about travel, technology, and innovation. They have large conferences. It's not business travel specifically, but they focus on travel technology. There's another company called Skift. They also write quite a bit about travel technology and innovation. The company Dime and the Beat, you guys probably have heard of. These are business travel dedicated publications. The company Dime and the Beat. I subscribe, I read everything that they write, and they write quite a bit about technology and innovation, helps me stay smart. And of course, BTN, Business Travel News. I come to these conferences around the world at ACTE and GBTA. Let's not pretend it doesn't exist. But I go to these industry conferences and I sit in these panels and I network with folks, and that's how I keep myself intelligent on these topics. So I just thought it would be important just to let the audience know sort of how we stay up on innovation and technology. So let's move on to some of these questions that I've got prepared for this panel. So let's start with you, Jeremy. Right. So we talk a lot about technology and business travel. So what does it mean to you and your company in terms of technology and innovation? Is it an enabler? Is it a tool? Is it a have to have, a need to have? What does it bring to your organization?
I think first I like to split that into 2 points of view. One is coming from the travelers and one is coming from the travel managers or sourcing managers. For the travelers, I think it's simply they just want something to be fast, they want something to be convenient, they want something to be smooth. But recently, because of the various terrorist attacks in the last few months getting even more intense, these travelers have started to get worried about their safety and security. So I think this is something that they hope that technology can help them, reach out to them and seek whatever assistance that this technology can provide. From the sourcing managers, from travel managers' point of view, I think at this point in time, what we really need from technology is, first of all, data. We need a very good data collections to understand what these travelers' behaviors are all about. And then from there, in the long term, after a year or two, then we are able to see what are the trends of these travelers are currently doing, and then from there, execute certain strategies for the company.
So I want to follow up one more question with you. So in my experience, and again, I work for a TMC, and my TMC sells solutions and technology. So one thing I find is that in general, travel managers often do not have big budgets of millions of dollars to spend on technology, right? So I want you to share with the audience, how do you convince your leadership to spend money? You got to spend money to save money, right? How do you convince them? Do you do a robust ROI process? Do you partner cross-functionally with maybe HR or the technology group because they do have budgets to spend money? How do you convince your leadership that they need to spend money on technology?
Right, so I'm not going into details how my company is doing because right now we're doing an RFP. So if not, audience, some of them actually here. So okay, so but I think it's a very good point. I think it's a combination of a few factors. I mean, be it you're going to tell your management in terms of ROI, or you're trying to be creative to embed some of these costs as part of the transaction fees. I think all these are valid points to be used. But I just want to tell to the rest of the travel managers that I often encourage them to embrace technology. I think technology is here. We can't escape, and I think this is something that we have to be constantly pushing to the management. I think you can be rejected, but I think if you keep on trying, I think there will be a day then that you will be able to get past management approval.
And just to answer my own question, one thing that I see happening, and I've seen it a few times in the last couple of months, is that I've seen travel managers look at the benefits of a technology and then call the HR group and be like, these benefits on technology I would like to purchase for my travel program is a huge benefit to HR for the following reasons. Will you partner with me to go to leadership and get them to help us implement this? I've seen them partner with the technology group as a technology play-by. So I think it's interesting when you think about purchasing or spending money on technology, look at the benefits that technology brings to you and see who else in the company you can partner with on those shared benefits, right? To approach your leadership to try to get funding or get them a decision. Okay, all right, so let's talk about you. Okay. So if you do your... Funny. Okay, so you're in a situation where if you do your job well, nobody knows you are doing anything, right? You are one of those suppliers that If you do your job well, you iron out wrinkles in the process, you give access to the right content at the right time and the right technology. So that is not sexy to buyers, right? That's not something that's easy to say, we need to buy a new tool and everyone's gonna love it. So can you talk a little bit about the foundational purchasing and how important it is for travel managers and buyers to be looking at what's underneath and not necessarily just the latest mobile app?
Sure. Interesting question. So how how the travel buying behavior has evolved over the years. I still remember when I started my career, the travel buying behavior was primarily driven by price. Then it evolved into price plus service. Today, the travel buying behavior and for the travel purchasers or the travelers, it is price plus service plus the benefit. So I call it as a value hub. What is the value for me as a traveler when I buy a ticket on Singapore Airline? Will it give me a mileage, or will it has a better leg space, or what's the on-time performance? So what are the benefits that I as a traveler is going to get from the price I'm paying and the service I'm getting? So everything has started evolving around price, service and benefits, and how we as travel technology companies or the travel management companies are creating that ecosystem for the travelers and travel managers to take that as a value hub. Yeah.
Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that technology, well, as I mentioned, technology is delivering a lot to that. I think that there's one part where technology can deliver more is in predictive information for corporations and as well for the benefit of the traveler. And we are working hard on it. I know the competition is working hard on it. It's crucial, it's critical, both from a data point of view and an experience point of view for the customer.
I just want to add something to this part. I think it's quite interesting that you point out about the predictability. I'm just really curious, because in the consumer world, CRM is so well done. So why do you think that from the corporate travel point of view, it's so difficult to have those implemented?
I think that a few elements. I mean, first of all, the source of information is limitless. I mean, you need to take into consideration multiple elements. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is that you need also to take into consideration the compliancy, the rules that are set by the company, the travel policy. And I think that's an element which makes it more difficult because you need to take into consideration that element. But there are already, I think that there are already solutions available on the market. It's probably just a matter of selling it well and promoting it well, and it's also a matter of cost because technology has a cost. And I mean, recently I made a corporation and we pitched on what we call corporate insight, and seemingly the value for money was not here yet. So I think that we need to industrialize it and make it more affordable and more accessible. But yeah, it's already there.
Let's talk about the state of innovation in the APAC region. Would you say that there are areas where APAC is leapfrogging the rest of the world? Are there places where we lag behind in this region? Are there any nuances that are unique to this region that might not be customary in other regions?
I think when it comes to technology adoption, APAC has certainly leapfrogged all other regions. You look at the adoption of chatbots, beacons, virtual reality out here, from touchless, check-in to touchless boarding, and now you have robots delivering your toothbrushes in your hotels. So everything is happening in this region, and I think APAC is far ahead. And not just that, the travelers are actually putting a lot of pressure on travel managers, out here to adopt those technologies for their own travel, and it's the pressure is equally on travel managers, corporations like us as travel technology companies, and also as TMCs, that what you can deliver for us as in terms of technology.
Just before you pass the mic over, what do you think is going to be one of the most important innovations? Well, we saw Frederick gave us a list of some of the key innovations. What do you think is going to be the most, besides Hyperloop, which we're all really excited about, besides that, what do you think is one of the more exciting innovations that's really going to have an impact on business travel experience?
I think chatbots and the virtual assistant is definitely going to play a big role. I believe chatbots not too much, but virtual assistant, and I'm saying voice assistant. I consider chatbots as the pagers of the world. So I don't know how many of you have experienced the pager. So pager come and gone, and by the time the adoption of pager has started taking place, it was replaced by mobile phones. So now, as the adoption of chatbots will start taking place, it has started replacing with voice assistant, Alexa, and a couple of other stuff is coming on. So I think that is definitely going to play a big role. So if I'm getting ready for my travel, my voice assistant is saying, hey, you're getting late for your flight, let me book an Uber. And boom, the Uber is booked. Your car is coming in 2 minutes, keeping a track, and hey, you forgot your bag. So all that virtual assistant is actually, driving you. I think, I always joke with my wife that, I'm probably happy with the virtual assistant than, you nagging me all the time. So that's it, definitely next technology wave, that's why.
And I will say, I attend a lot of travel technology conferences, and every keynote speaker, they have one opinion or another. They're pretty split on whether text chat, is just a placeholder where we will be for a couple more years, and we will then get into voice, and it'll be 100% voice. And they always show videos of like 3-year-old children talking to their refrigerator and angry that the refrigerator isn't responding because they're so used to already at age 3 talking to their YouTube Kids app, right? Or talking to Alexa, or, so it's interesting to see these 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds get upset when an appliance can't talk to them or can't respond to them. So what about you, Jeremy? What do you think is going to be the big technology?
If we really look at Asia Pac itself, if you're talking about that one country that has really leapfrogged, I would say it's China. I think China, from the perspective of the payment solution,
Yes.
they are very, very, very advanced. If you look at fund transfer, when you go for restaurants, after a meal, they can use WeChat to do the splitting of bills, and then once that is being done through WeChat, right, all the money is being transferred and everything is done. Even during like the Chinese New Year, where we have this habit of giving great packets to the family, to family members. Everything can be done on WeChat. So on the other hand, like in Singapore, we are still struggling to use this kind of application for this kind of mobile transfer, fund transfer. So I think China has really done a great job in doing this. On top of that, I would like to touch on the mobile, this sharing economy. I think Uber has really done something really great in this industry. They are really the real disruptors. Who knows that you are living a cab without having to pay anything. So I think that it really brings a lot of convenience. And then China adopt this concept back in China, we call it Didi, right? So, when you're at hotels, there's always this QR code located at this hotel. And it doesn't need for you to go and search for your location, where you're locating, and then get a taxi to pick you up. You just do a QR scan on it. And then the taxi will come and pick you up. So I think China has really done a great job on adopting technology. So, yeah.
Before you address this, Frederick, does anyone in the audience have a comment, a question? Does anyone think we're crazy? Does anybody have anything that they want to share or ask? Oh, come on, don't make me call on somebody.
I wrote them.
Okay. All right, Frederick, why don't you give that a shot? What do you think is going to be one of the technologies that is going to be the most impactful?
Short term, artificial intelligence and chatbot, definitely, I agree with you. Medium long term, smart cities, smart airports, everything connected, automated vehicles. I think that science fiction, as we envisaged it 20, 30 years ago, is coming life. That's what's going really to change things for me.
I have an opinion on this, as you might imagine. So I will share it while you guys think of a question for us. So I think there's a couple things in my mind as a TMC that are going to affect us, I think, tremendously over the next couple of years. The first is the concept of what I call digital luxury. So if you think back to when we used to start with online booking tools, we used to tell travelers, you have to use your online booking tool because it's cheaper. Like, what a wonderful endorsement, right? So we told them you have to use it because it's cheaper and it's more efficient. We didn't tell them to use it because it was better. We didn't tell them to use it because it was easier. We told them to use it because it's cheaper. And not only that, we would say things like, if you use your OBT, it's $5. And if you use a human, it's $50, right? So there was nothing about it being a good experience. It was just that it was cheaper. So then we start talking about things like luxury. And I'll give you an example. If you are in a 4-star hotel and you would like a cup of coffee, you take the, even in this hotel, which is lovely, you take the Nespresso and you put it in the machine and you push a button and a minute later you have a lovely cup of coffee and you can have your coffee, right? If you're in a 5-star hotel and you'd like a cup of coffee, you've got to call downstairs, you've got to wait 25 minutes, a man will come up in a suit and white gloves and a silver carafe and a bill for $38. And my currency, I can't convert on the fly, but you know what I'm saying, right? $38 bill, and that's not luxury. That's not luxury. And when you look at the statistics of luxury travelers, the majority of them would actually rather have a digital experience. They'd rather not deal with a person. And so I think that this is the chance, and this is up to guys like you. You will be the receiver of this, but it's people like him who, hopefully, right, that are going to hopefully start delivering what we call digital luxury. We need to start thinking about our digital experience as better, more elegant, more easy. And when we talk to our travelers about that, we need to talk about it like that. Right? When we market to our travelers and say, please use our online booking tool, we need to tell them to do so because it's better. And you need to build better booking tools. More better. It's still great. But you know what I mean? That concept of digital luxury, I think, is an emotional and a marketing transformation we as an industry need to make when it comes to the digital experience that we deliver to our travelers. So that's one. And let me also make kind of a commercial. Not for my company, but for a part of the industry. I think the next big investment that a lot of us are going to make in the room, your TMCs and your technology providers, is in an industry we call CIAM, C-I-A-M. It stands for Customer, Identity, and Access Management. It's what we used to call profiles. Profiles today are pathetic, okay? It is a meal preference, it's a seat preference, it's your form of payment. Who cares? You care if you want to book an airline ticket, but it doesn't help do anything else. It doesn't help personalize the experience. It doesn't help Amadeus deliver a better booking experience. And so you're going to see, I believe, you're going to see big travel companies start to re-envision the way we think about profile. I hope you're building this. I will attend a meeting where you show it. But they're going to start investing in what we call sovereign ID, right? These are all new words. We talk about them in other forums, but I think it's important for you to start hearing them now and start socializing them in your brain. But sovereign ID. I am Miriam here in Tokyo. I am Miriam in Denver, Colorado, where I live. I am Miriam at PCD Travel. I am Miriam at Amazon.com. I am Miriam at Zappos when I buy shoes. I am Miriam when I pay with a credit card. I am one Miriam on Earth. And I want my profile to last through my entire life, wherever I am, And I want personal control over the elements of my profile I share with Amadeus when I book an airline ticket, or with the hotel brand when I book a hotel, or with the Uber guy when I get in the Uber car. So I think that's the big investment you're going to see. You're going to see people start investing in what is we used to call profile, which is pretty old-fashioned and pretty useless, other than just a seat preference and a form of payment. And you're going to start to see people invest in a 360-degree view of who is your user. What channels do they use? Why did they call us the last time? What else have they booked in their life? What are they like? Is it a woman over 40 who travels every week? Because I'm a woman over 40 who travels every week, and I behave a lot like that woman over 40 who travels every week. And perhaps you can create a more personalized and luxurious experience for me if we start investing in that kind of customer identity and access management, that sovereign ID. So that's my own personal opinion. I can't sit on a stage without sharing at least a few of them. So do any of you guys have any reactions to what I've said? I'll pass the mic.
Sure. So this very much relates to a story. Imagine if you call a Pizza Hut, and the Pizza Hut store say, "Hey, I'm Rajat. I want to order pizza." "Oh, Mr. Nagpal, last time you ordered pizza, you had a high cholesterol, so I won't recommend. And because you had this medicine, so you don't take this pizza, you take this one. This is recommended." I'll faint. Because the sovereign ID will do that actually, and I think this is what you said, Miriam, is going to be reality in next couple of years, definitely. Yeah, and let's see. I'm definitely going to open a Pizza Hut for you then.
I'm not sure about this concept because it means you're definitely exposing yourself, your entire DNA to the public.
But you control it. You control who gets what.
Right. So I'm thinking of the safety point of view, your security point of view. So.
Tell us you're building this, please.
Okay, we're all working on it.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But there's one constraint: data privacy.
Right.
Legally we need to find a way to protect the data privacy, in order to be able to have this 360 profile available whenever you consume, whenever you go out of your house, whenever you travel.
I don't think so that privacy is any more a concern because if I do a Google search, let's say when I was coming here to Tokyo, I was searching for my hotel, and the moment my search on Google finished, I opened Facebook, and there is a list of hotels that I looked at. I said, all right, great. And then I went to my Gmail, and then there was a side banner that these are the list of hotels. And whoa, this is the things to do in Tokyo while you're there, and these are the flights that you can travel. I'm not paranoid about privacy at all. I think this is a great information for me to be feeded every time so that I can make a conscious decision, I can make a well-informed decision.
So, we're out of time. Does anybody have a question? Sir, stand up and scream. Oh, no.
Okay. Good afternoon. Christian from Amadeus as well. Was very interpelled by the question of privacy because I was running a duty of care session yesterday, and that was one of the points. Like, are we in this post-privacy area, as it has been coined in a few data research paper, or is there still a legal need for companies to protect the information? Now, when you do a Google search, you agree implicit for Google to use your session information to advertise to Facebook. So you have agreed for Google to use it. Now, in the case of Amadeus, I think we have a responsibility to protect that information unless it is released by the owner being the traveler. So ultimately, I think that the question is, what does the traveler want to share? And does the traveler have a choice? More than, is it post-privacy or is there privacy? My 2 cents.
No, and I think that's a great point.
No, I completely agree with you. So as corporations, as travel technology providers, it is our responsibility to protect the data of the consumer. And then let the consumer take a choice what they want to share, what they don't want to share. So as a consumer,
I'm willing to share the information. It's an open book. Let it be. Let people read more about me. Let them get connected to me more often. Let them get to know more. So I think it's a personal choice as a traveler. But as an organization, I'll have a different view altogether. I would like to protect the information that my consumer is sharing with me, and then how much consumer allow me to share that information outside.
And I think that this envelope is going to be pushed in the next year or so. There is a supplier called Journera, Journera, Journera.com. Their investors are American, United, Marriott, Hilton, IHG. They've got big investors, so you know that they're serious. And what Journera is doing is they are creating a subscription publishing database for suppliers that you share on one itinerary to communicate information and share it with others in the itinerary. So the example is, if you're flying on United and staying at a Marriott and taking an Uber, all three of those suppliers could share information among them about me. So when I check in on United and I board the aircraft and I scan my boarding pass, United knows that, but they don't share it anywhere. Journera is building a platform so that United can share, Miriam boarded 10 minutes ago. Who might be interested in that? Marriott might be interested because they'd like to know if I'm going to arrive on time or if I'm going to be late, and maybe I'll arrive so late and so hungry that they would like to email me and offer me a sandwich to be available in my room when I arrive. Who else wants to know? Your TMC wants to know, so that when we create duty of care reports for you, we're giving you a report of that Miriam boarded the aircraft instead of Miriam just bought a ticket. So I think these boundaries are going to start blending, and these questions that you guys are talking about are going to start getting pushed because suppliers want to share information among each other that are in the same itinerary so they can handle that handoff in a more elegant fashion. So I think that we're going to come to a point in the next year or so where these questions are going to come to a head, and people are going to have to make some judgment calls as to how we share information across that value chain. And we are over time. We could talk for 18 hours. So we'll sit here and keep talking, and you guys can, I guess you have to leave.
Bring your lunch here.
Yeah, it's lunch. So we'll end it there. Thanks, you guys, very much for sharing. Thanks for joining us.